It's the 27th of August, and this is your News Bite brought to you by eNCA.com. I'm Marcelle Gordon, and in your news today, the Madlanga Commission years of the influence of Malcolm X, 6 South Africans amongst the hundreds missing following a catastrophic mudslide on the Nepal-Tibet border, and if you ever wanted to know why the Springboks Mr. Dependable Deon Fourie is nicknamed Brunners, here's your chance. When Malcolm X calls, Godfrey Lebeya answered. The former Hawks boss confirmed to the Madlanga Commission that it was after a call from the social media influencer that he decided to send Hawks officers to verify the arrest of Katiso Katie Molefe in December of 2024. Now, Malcolm X previously told the eNCA that he was acting on behalf of Molefe's brother, who was one of his clients, and wanted to establish whether there was an arrest warrant for Molefe. Lebeya denied knowing Molefe or having been contacted by him.
On 6th of December 2024, Malcolm X, who is a member of the public, phoned me to alert me that there are people who claims to be from the Hawks and to have been sent by me to an address in Sundowns. I knew that I had not sent any member there. I took it that in case there were people who claimed to have been sent by me, they would be imposters. Knowing the scenario painted about impersonators, I had to ensure that action is taken to verify the information and in case of impersonators, effect an arrest. In case of legitimate members, confirm as such and allow them to continue. A reasonable senior manager in my shoes would have reacted the same way. Indeed, the team verified that the people were police officials, but not Hawks, and they allowed the team to proceed without disturbances, as confirmed by Lieutenant General Mukwanazi.
In international news, a catastrophic mudslide and devastating flash flooding on the Himalayan border of Nepal and Tibet has killed scores of people and left hundreds missing. The Nepal Tourism Board has confirmed that the number of South Africans amongst hundreds of tourists missing has now risen to 6. Authorities say at least 270 bodies have been recovered, with hundreds still missing. Footage of the moment of impact captured by CCTV footage gives an idea of the massive catastrophe caused when a huge wall of mud and rock collapsed into a river, sending torrents of water and mud through villages. As the search for survivors intensifies, Gift of the Givers has placed an 11-member team of urban and water search specialists on standby to assist with rescue efforts if needed. The South African Police Service has also authorized 4 canine handlers and their search and rescue dogs to join the team if they are deployed. eNCA's Rebecca Bundan has more from India.
Those search and rescue operations are continuing, but under extremely difficult conditions. It's very hard to reach certain areas. The army is out, helicopters are searching for people, but the full extent of the damage and the loss of life is not yet known. So far, that death toll has only been rising as more bodies are found. And what Nepal's foreign ministry has said is that this could have been caused by an earthquake that then triggered an avalanche, but full details are not yet known, and really the focus now is on trying to rescue people and just get to people.
Further to Rebecca's report, their authorities have now confirmed that the seismic activity picked up in the affected area was caused by the impact of a glacier collapse into a valley, which then most likely caused the mudslide. Remember, Nepal is wedged between 2 major carbon emitters, India and China, with the United Nations reporting in 2023 that Nepal's glaciers melted 65% faster in the last decade than in the previous one. Nepal's snow-capped mountains had lost close to 1/3 of their ice in just over 30 years due to global warming. Now, earth scientist Dan Sugar, an associate professor at the University of Calgary, said the imagery now made available of the affected area of this mudslide near the Nepal border seemed to show that a large amount of snow had melted in the 24 hours prior to the disaster. Closer to home, National Assembly Speaker Toko Didiza has survived the EFF's motion of no confidence against her. She was accused of failing to protect Parliament when she chose not to oppose the President's interdict application, which temporarily halted public hearings of the impeachment inquiry. EFF leader Julius Malema says Didiza was biased.
Speaker of the National Assembly is a role that comes with a great responsibility, one that requires the ability to distinguish between serving the political organization that deployed you as a member of Parliament and serving the Constitution to which you take an oath once you are elected Speaker by a majority in this House. That oath is owed to all 400 members of this House and to the public who elected them, not merely to the party that put you here as a Speaker. Unfortunately, over the last 15 years, a culture of prioritizing the party and the elected president over the Constitution and oversight has come to characterize those who occupy this office.
The latest data analyzed by the Pietermaritzburg Economic Justice and Dignity Group shows that while their food basket of basics has decreased by about 50 Rand for the month of August, it has actually increased by about 100 Rand year on year. Staples like potatoes, beef, and bread have become more expensive. The group's Mervyn Abrams points to a widening gap between wages and the cost of living.
It's an overall affordability crisis, Marcelle, in the South African economy, something we have been living with for more than a decade. And one example is to look at affordability is dependent, of course, on the prices, but also the levels of income. Now, what households tell us is they prioritize transport, they prioritize electricity. And in those two areas, we have seen massive increases this year. Eskom's increase has been 8.7%, and we have seen taxi fares increase. So when we look at a national minimum wage, for instance, then about almost 60% of the wage will go just to those two items. So even though prices of food come down, when we look at it from an affordability perspective, then the picture looks very different. So, for instance, if we take a national minimum wage and we divide what is left over after you have deducted transport and electricity, then you're left with something like 400 Rand per person in a household of 4. And that is not sufficient for sufficient and nutritious food. So that's where the problem is. The prices outstrip the level of wage income or social grant incomes in households.
Now, winter is normally the season for rich stews, and South Africans do love themselves a mean oxtail stew or potjie. But that foodie favorite has become far more expensive to make because the price of oxtail has nearly doubled as restrictions on Argentine imports squeeze supply. South Africa relies heavily on import to meet demand, with a huge percentage of our imported oxtail coming from Argentina. The Association of Meat Importers and Exporters say revised veterinary requirements are preventing some Argentine suppliers from exporting oxtail and other bone-in beef products. There's drama at a high school in Cosmo City where the family of a 16-year-old has taken exception to the school's alleged decision to not allow him to continue his grade after he missed 4 months of schooling because of initiation practices. Cosmo City Secondary School Principal Eddie Maota has denied the boy was expelled, but the teenager's family have cried discrimination. The grade 9 pupil allegedly left the school in early April, saying he was going for initiation. But usually, initiation is generally conducted during the June school holidays to ensure the academic year is not disrupted. eNCA's Moloko Moloto visited the school and observed a heated meeting between the school, the teenager's family, and cultural activists. The Gauteng legislature's COCTA spokesperson was also in attendance.
The school did not expel, nor release, nor exclude. The school did not do anything.
The people's and rejects the principal's explanation.
I'm very cross. Very nkwatile because ayikho lento besizelela yini into besizelela bavumelana no principal emakuthi principal emakathena kasilutho bekakhona umbonile amazi umzali walo mntwana umntwana angahlala nje ahlale nje bathi bona abaqoshanga umntwana bamqoshile umntwana uhlalelene endlini if akaqoshwanga uhlalelene endlini because uqoshwe straight uprincipal emehlweni la staff room.
All South Africans have the right to basic education and to practice their culture. But how should schools strike a balance when a learner stays away from school for 4 months to attend an initiation school?
Let's look at what the law says. How do we accommodate the school calendar and ensure that when the children miss school, it must not be this much. 4 months is a lot. We can't be happy with that. That's why we're concerned if the child is not in school, let's put back the child in school, but also let's make a commitment between the school and the authorities. Let's discuss on how we resolve the matters at hand.
This child is repeating grade 9. He is in grade 9, repeating grade 9.
The teenager was absent from school for 4 months, which meant he missed the mid-year exams.
Kwakudala lento ayiqali manje since ngabo 1400 abantwana baya esikolweni mababuya babenzela ama extra classes.
The main issue here ukuthi the principal doesn't understand and doesn't follow the cultural procedures of Amandebele.
In other news we're keeping an eye on, a 45-year-old Zimbabwean national remains in custody after allegedly attempting to smuggle manufactured tobacco worth about 3.8 million rand through the Groblersburg port of entry. Shumba Munetsi was arrested by SAPS border policing members on Monday after officers became suspicious of a concealed hatch underneath a trailer. Munetsi appeared in the Palala Magistrates Court and the matter was postponed to the 31st of August. Onto the world of sports now, and Mamelodi Sundowns were clinical in their 5-2 demolition of AmaZulu at Loftus, with Colombian forward Brian Leon scoring a contender for goal of the season. The result sees Downs join leaders Orlando Pirates on 10 points. Meanwhile, Kaizer Chiefs rescued a point at Richards Bay. The 2-all draw, meaning Amakosi are 2 points behind the early season pace setters. And in rugby, the All Blacks have made 6 changes to their match day 23 for Saturday's second test against the Springboks in Cape Town, and 3 of those are in the starting lineup at left wing, loosehead prop and flank. Now, Bok coach Rassie Erasmus kept the core of his team following that opening loss at Ellis Park, but Handré Pollard and Kobus Reinach will come in as the starting halfback pairing. Ethan Hooker replaces the injured Cheslin Colby, and Kurtley Arendse shifts to right wing. Siya Kolisi has been bracketed to start depending on how he gets through training this week as his recovery from injury continues. And soon-to-be 40-year-old Deon Fourie has been named on the bench. Now remember, he came on as the replacement hooker in just the 3rd minute of the 2023 World Cup final, also against the All Blacks, and was immense for the champions in Paris. Here's Bok coach Rassie Erasmus explaining how Fourie got the nickname Branners and why he is Mr. Dependable.
Guys asked me last week or 2 weeks ago when we pulled him in. As I said, we always have Frans, Malherbe and Dion there in the back of our heads and we know what they can do. And as I said yesterday, I coached him since he was 18. I actually give him the nickname Pranas because we flew together on a flight when I was becoming the Stormers director of coaching, and they were winning the under 19 against us when I was still at the Free State. We walked into the plane and it was pouring a Scalama Brannaway, and that's why I got the name Brannas. So I know him very well. And I coached him for many years. He played flanker for us and then moved into hooker. And, as I said yesterday to the guys, the guy was a gymnast, the guy was a wrestler. And I guess very few people, some at 35, 36, and others at 39 still make it. So, yeah, it's unbelievable. And we feel it's something not just in his game, also him as a person and how he helps us make decisions and plans and so on. He's on and off the field.
And that's how we wrap today's News Bite. For developments in these and more, keep an eye on eNCA.com and DStv channel 403.